What's up, treasure hunters? So today I'm going over some of my auction purchases that I made over the past month or so. I finally got a bunch of them in the mail, and I wanted to review with you all the things I bought, why I thought it was a good deal, how much I paid for it, and hopefully how much profit I can make. First off, I'm going to start with this small oil painting. It's done on board, and I got this from an auction out west somewhere. It's just, I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool. I really like how the boats kind of pop out. There's just two sailboats, what looks to be kind of at the beginning of sunset or something. I really like how the boat's reflections are kind of coming down. This is signed. I wasn't sure. At first I thought in the bottom, I thought it said E. Morse, M-O-R-S-E. But it turns out that that is not an E. When I got it and I took a closer look, it just didn't look like an E. And I thought this was there's actually quite a few artists that have the last name Morse. So I came up with a bunch of different people that it possibly could have been. And then I finally found similar style and a lot of nautical paintings by an artist named Fanny S. Montague Morse. This was done, I think she was born in the mid 1800s. So this was likely done the late 19th, early 20th century. There's some writing here on the back, but I can't really make out. The only thing I can see is that it says no glass and rub up with oil. So I am not really sure. I guess maybe to keep it fresh so it doesn't chip or something. I don't really know. There is a old gallery sticker here at the top out of New York, but this was not identified the artist. I mean, it did say that it was signed Morse, but that was the only information on the artist. So I had to do some research. All those artists with the last name Morse, they all seemed, to fetch some pretty decent prices at auction. What's funny is I did not find Fanny Morse when I was doing that research, but afterwards I did find there was only a couple auction results with her work. It was all, $200 to $400, I would say. And I picked this one up at auction for $55. The next thing I got was from the same auction that I got that painting from. And this looks like a log, I know, but it's actually petrified wood. And this auction was done out in California. So this is California petrified wood. It is pretty heavy. It's obviously very solid. And this happens to wood over a long, long period of time. But I thought I've always been into fossils and stuff, and I thought this was kind of a cool piece to grab. It does have a little bit of coloring here. It hasn't been refined whatsoever. Sometimes I did once at the thrift store, I found a pair of petrified wood bookends that were polished up and cut and real smooth and stuff, but this is just a raw piece of petrified wood. Prices for these vary a lot. I saw some on eBay selling for $40. I saw, some on eBay selling for a couple $100. I guess it depends on what it looks like and where it came from. I picked this up for $10. So either way, I thought it was a cool piece. Even if I don't sell it, I don't mind keeping it. So the next thing I got at auction is from the Meiji period. It is a Japanese bronze urn or small vase. Given its size, it's got some definite weight to it. All of this is solid. It's hard to see, obviously, because it's so dark. But this kind of just goes straight down. It doesn't bow out with the actual vase itself. It's got some really nice detailed relief work and some cool elephant handles on the side. It's in really good condition. There is no marking on the bottom, but I did do some research on this. like before I purchased it. And then when I got home, I took a picture and used the Google app the Google Lens app to try and find something very similar to this. And prices ranged from, $125 to like $300, depending on the detail and the condition. It's got a real nice patina to it that happens to bronze over time. And I don't know, I always really like older stuff like this Japanese style, and just the detail they get out of the relief work and everything. But I picked this up I won this for $55, and shipping was only, I don't know, $15 or something because of the size. So I thought this was a real cool find. So this next piece I picked up was one of my more recent auction purchases. And this is a fairly large vase. It's about 15 inches tall. When I bought this, it didn't have any sort of identification of a maker or anything. It was just labeled like a tall vase. But I could tell it was fairly old, just given the style of the glaze and also the style of the vase itself. It was it is in very good condition. And just given the look of the vase and the style of the glaze and everything, I knew it had to be fairly old. I've seen Roseville and even like Hager and all those art pottery older manufacturers have this kind of style glaze. It does have on the bottom, it was a 186. When I got this, I just took a couple pictures of it and posted it to one of the American and European art pottery groups, because I wasn't honestly sure if I thought it was American, but I also seen things I thought was American and it was actually European. This is a Red Wing vase, and it's an earlier style. So I picked this up at auction. I won it for $25. And a pretty standard price for this vase. I guess there were 3 variations. They were the same style, but different sizes. So I think one was like 8 or 9 inches, one tall, one was 11 or 12, and then this one was 14 or 15 or whatever it is. So this is the largest version, and pricing ranged from $100 to $200, just given there are different colors of this too. So I guess given the color, the size, and the condition. So I think I should be able to get I'll probably list this for around $150 to start. Here's another vase I picked up at auction. I got this one for $20, and it didn't have too many photos, and it looked really old to me in the pictures, but they weren't really that great. I really didn't realize how big this was, but all the decorations or design on this is hand painted. I'm just not sure. I haven't posted this anywhere yet or anything. I did find some similar style vases, like shape wise and the design, but I'm really not sure if this is an older vase or if it's more of a modern vase that is supposed to look older. I'm not too sure. I need some assistance. Sometimes it's difficult to tell if you're not really familiar with Chinese pottery or porcelain or whatever that has this kind of design. This is often reproduced. I'm going to post this and see if somebody can give me some insight into that. But either way, it was only $20 and I should be able to make some sort of profit, but it just will depend on how old this is or if this is a reproduction. So the next thing I got here is an original watercolor, and this is signed Emma Lane. And there was no information on the artist. I don't even know if I think this was just listed as a watercolor. I don't even think they mentioned the artist's name, but they did show a picture of her signature, which is down there. So it's very easy to read. Actually, a lot of listings were Emma Lane Payne. She was actually, crazy enough, a Cleveland artist, and I got this outside. I can't remember which state I got it from, but I got this outside of Cleveland, and she was actually born in the city right next to where I live. So that was kind of crazy. And I imagine that she did a lot of Cleveland landscapes and that kind of thing. So I imagine this is a painting of the shores of Lake Erie. The matting's not in the best condition. There's a lot of discoloration spots and everything, but the painting itself still looks like it's in good condition. So after doing some research on her, she was born in the mid 1800s. So this is an older painting, and this has to be an earlier work of hers because it's just signed Emma Lane instead of Emma Lane Payne. And looks to be in the original frame and everything. And I got this piece, it was only $10. So I thought it was an awesome deal. I've seen her work sell for, as much as, over $1,000 to, the mid, like, I don't know, 300 to 500, or I guess it just kind of depends. Either way, I thought it was a nice watercolor and definitely a good buy for only $10. Next piece I got is kind of a similar looking compared to the last one. It's also a watercolor, except this is a watercolor of Mount Fuji in Japan. And this one was also not identified. It was just labeled as like a foggy something a mountain watercolor or something. I mean, it had no identification whatsoever, but it is signed in the bottom. I picked this up just because of the style. I could tell the frame was really old, and I could tell that it was signed, but the photos, you couldn't read what the signature was. And I just thought it was, really nicely done watercolor. So I got this from an auction house in Canada, actually. So I paid $14 Canadian for it. And the artist is, the signature is T. Masamitsu. And I wasn't sure what his first name was, but there was a whole bunch of kind of similar paintings, a lot of landscape, mountainous, like a lot of Mount Fuji paintings, a lot of paintings of the landscape by the water and that sort of thing. His artwork doesn't, fetch a huge amount of money, but everything was listed between $100 and $200. So it still leaves me a good amount of room to make a nice profit off of it. And it does help that the painting's in really good condition and it's in the original frame. So I'm still happy with this auction purchase. So this next painting I picked up, I got this at an auction for $80. And this is just, I don't know, I really liked the look of this, the bright colors, the style of it, just this jazz focused piece. This piece is signed Bischoff, and I thought I found the artist before I purchased this. And it turns out that when I got this, I didn't know it was as modern as it is. And the artist Bischoff that I found, it's definitely not him. I mean, he was doing work in the early 20th century. So definitely not the same artist. I'm still trying to figure out who this artist might be, but either way, it's a really cool original oil painting. I just need to do some more research to figure out if there are any auction results out there that I can base my pricing on. So this next piece here, this one was one of my more expensive auction purchases. I won this for $360, but this is a very old oil painting. Obviously, it's actually done on canvas and kind of just put in this older frame. It is nailed on the back to the frame, but there just is no stretcher. On the back here, there's a little label. It says Art Collection of Thomas M. Bryant. And it did have a price, like a very old price of $300. So I have no idea who painted this. It does look to have a signature. It's just very hard to read. So I have a feeling this is either going to be really hard to identify, or I'm going to have to get somebody that really recognizes different art styles to help me identify this. It is really kind of dusty, probably needs a cleaning, but I don't know, something just kind of made me want to picked this up, seeing that it's in the original frame and everything and was labeled in some sort of art collection. I thought I would take a chance on this. Either way, it's not like I'm going to lose out on the full investment amount. And just given the size and everything, just an antique painting like this, if I can kind of fix up how the backing isn't really, I don't know, definitely needs a little bit of work. But if I can fix the presentation of this a bit, I definitely think there's some room to make okay profit off of it. But if I can figure out who the artist is and they were, a more well-known listed artist, then I could possibly make a real nice profit. So we'll just have to see. I'll keep you updated if I can figure out who made this. So my last auction purchase that I made, I already hung it up on a wall so it wouldn't get damaged. But this is an original oil painting. This is more recent, but this was done by Harold Lloyd Lyon. And he actually, I found, recently passed away in 2020. I don't know if this came from his estate or someone who collected a bunch of his work, but there were quite a few of his paintings that were going up for auction. There's only a couple of his at this auction that I made this purchase on, but this one is titled The Old One. And I just thought it was an awesome painting of this old tree here, kind of by the shore. It is signed down here, Lion, and it even came with a signed copy of one of his books that kind of goes over how he creates these different paintings and even teaches, how to draw some simple things and everything, and then shows some of his paintings. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I picked this up for $330, and then shipping ended up being kind of expensive just given the size. His work I've seen listed between $1,200 to $2,000, just given the size and what his subject was. So I really like this. It is unframed, but that's really not a big deal. It's in awesome condition. There are no damage to the canvas or any stretching of the canvas or anything. So I thought this was a super cool piece to grab. I'll probably list it on the higher end to start, just given the size, but come down, after a while. So those are all my recent auction purchases. I got kind of a cool variety of stuff, actually. Usually I'm focused more on art and artwork just because there's a lot of artwork out there that people are selling online and at estate sales and that sort of thing that just go unidentified. So if you can do a little legwork, you can identify the artist yourself or who it might be. You can get some really good pieces for real cheap. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell. Helps me build the channel out and notifies you when I post new videos. I do have a lot of thrift store finds that I got over the past week that I'll be making a video of shortly. Drop a comment below, and if you recognize anything that I haven't identified, or let me know what you like and which ones maybe I should have passed on. Either way, I'd love to hear from you guys. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll be back soon, and until next time, if you get out to any garage sales or thrift stores or anything, I wish you the best of luck in finding treasures.